The forest on Varelia Prime was quiet, almost eerily so. The tall, silver-leaved trees swayed gently in the wind, their soft hum mingling with the distant calls of alien birds. Lyra adjusted her backpack straps and tightened her gloves. She had been walking for hours, yet the forest seemed endless. Every tree looked the same, every shadow seemed to move. But Lyra didn't mind. She had been trained for this, years of research, survival, and careful observation. Nothing could surprise her. At least that's what she had always believed. Lyra paused beside a small stream, the clear water flowing around black stones. She crouched down and scooped some into her hands, letting it run through her fingers. The water was cold but fresh, an unusual blessing on a planet known for its harsh environment. She took a sip, savoring the clean taste before standing again and looking around. Her research camp was not far, just a few miles deeper into the forest. By nightfall, she needed to be back. She had accepted a truth long ago that weighed heavily on her heart. Humans, her own species, were gone. Extinct. The stories she had heard as a child, the tales of courage, exploration, and survival, all seemed like distant myths now. For centuries, humans had disappeared from the galaxy. Scientists and historians believed they had failed, that some unknown disaster had ended their reign among the stars. Lyra had never seen a human, not one in her lifetime. She had spent decades studying alien life, recording their habits, and exploring abandoned human colonies that had long since been overtaken by nature. Even so, she couldn't shake the longing, the tiny spark of hope that humans might still exist somewhere. Every time she found a piece of old technology or a ruined shelter, her heart would skip. She knew it was irrational, but she allowed herself to dream. That hope had driven her to Varelia Prime, a planet thought to be uninhabited by humans. Here she could research, survive, and perhaps discover something extraordinary. The forest opened slightly, revealing the remnants of an old human path. Broken wooden beams, rusted metal, and fragments of machinery peeked through the moss and vines. Lyra knelt to examine them. She recognized the craftsmanship immediately. Humans had built this path. The metal was lightweight but durable, engineered to last decades without maintenance. Lyra's hands traced the edges of a half-buried panel. It was scratched and dented, but she could see markings, symbols she had studied in human archives. They were here, she whispered to herself. They really were. For a moment she allowed herself a small smile. Then the wind shifted. Something moved in the distance. A rustle, faint but distinct. Lyra froze. Her instincts kicked in. She scanned the trees, noting shadows and shapes. Nothing. The forest was still. She shook her head, chiding herself. After all, she had been alone for days. Perhaps she was imagining things. She continued down the path, her boots crunching softly against fallen leaves and broken stones. Birds scattered above her, their calls sharp and sudden. She paused to record a sample, using a small scanner that could identify plant and animal DNA. Lyra loved her work. It was meticulous, peaceful, and it kept her mind sharp. Still, a part of her longed for human contact. She missed conversation, the shared laughter of a companion, even the gentle teasing that humans often exchanged. That connection, she thought, was something alien life could never replace. By late afternoon, the forest thickened. The path disappeared entirely, swallowed by vines and roots. Lyra frowned. She consulted her scanner, which showed traces of artificial energy deep in the forest. Whoever, or whatever, had left this energy had done so recently. That realization sent a thrill down her spine. She adjusted her pack and set off carefully, following the faint energy signals. Hours passed. Shadows grew long and the sun dipped below the horizon. The forest transformed. Strange bioluminescent plants glowed softly, casting green and blue light across the trees. Lyra stopped, marveling at the beauty. She had never seen anything like it. But her attention was drawn back to the faint hum of energy. It was closer now, unmistakable. She crouched behind a fallen log, heart pounding. Then she saw it. Footprints. Large, upright, and unmistakably human. They were fresh, pressed into the soft earth, leading toward her. Lyra's breath caught. She stared at them, unable to believe her eyes. After all these years, after centuries of believing humans were gone, there they were. Footprints. Someone had walked here. Someone alive, her mind raced. Could it be an alien mimicking human form? Unlikely. The prints were perfect, size, shape, depth, all consistent with human anatomy. Lyra's scientific curiosity battled with her growing fear. She had prepared for alien encounters, for dangerous wildlife, for even hostile robots left behind by humans. But she had never imagined meeting a human. She debated her next move. Should she follow the footprints, or wait at her camp and observe from a distance? Her instincts told her to proceed carefully. She decided to mark her location and move slowly. Each step was deliberate, measured, silent. The footprints led her through a thick grove and into a small clearing. There, a faint light glimmered through the trees. Lyra crouched behind a bush, peering through the foliage. What she saw made her heart race faster than she had ever imagined. A figure, a human, was sitting by a small fire. He looked weak, dirty, and exhausted. His clothing was torn and patched, but there was no mistaking him. A human, alive. Lyra wanted to call out, to run forward and greet him, but she stopped herself. He might be injured or worse, frightened. Humans were cautious, especially if they had been hiding for decades. She needed a plan. Carefully, she recorded his image with a small scanner. She noted his approximate age, appearance, and condition. His hair was dark and unkempt, his eyes alert despite obvious exhaustion. She also noticed a small device at his side glowing faintly. Its design was unfamiliar, but it was clearly human-made. Perhaps a survival tool or communication device. Lyra's curiosity surged. If she could recover that device, it might provide answers about where humans had been, how they survived, and why they had disappeared from the galaxy. The human stirred, sitting up and looking around. Lyra froze, holding her breath. He scanned the forest, then seemed to relax slightly. He murmured something under his breath, though Lyra couldn't hear it clearly. She realized he must have been alone for a long time. Loneliness, fear, and exhaustion were etched into his posture. Lyra made a decision. She stepped out slowly, hands raised to show she meant no harm. "Hello," she called softly. I'm not here to hurt you." The human jumped, eyes wide with shock. He reached for something at his belt, then relaxed slightly when he saw her unarmed stance. You're human?" he asked, his voice hoarse. Lyra smiled gently. "Yes, my name is Lyra. I didn't think humans still existed." He blinked, disbelief and relief mingling on his face. "I thought I was alone. Forever," he whispered. He rose slowly, leaning on a makeshift staff. Lyra could see he was weak, but determination burned in his eyes. For a long moment they stood silently, studying each other. Two humans, meeting for the first time in centuries on a foreign planet. The weight of history, survival, and hope pressed down on them. Lyra realized something profound. Humanity had not ended. It had survived quietly, cleverly, and patiently. Finally, she stepped closer. "Can you walk?" she asked gently. He nodded. "I think, with help." Together, they began moving toward her camp. The forest around them seemed alive, as if recognizing the reunion of two human souls. Shadows flickered, creatures watched from a distance, and the air vibrated with quiet energy. Lyra helped him over roots and stones, offering water and encouragement. Step by step, they made progress. By the time night fully descended, they reached her camp. The fire from earlier had dimmed, but Lyra quickly rekindled it. She offered him food and a blanket. He accepted gratefully, his exhaustion evident. As he ate, Lyra studied him closely. His name was Kai, he said, and he carried knowledge of human survival. The stories he hinted at made her heart race. Humans had not only survived, they had hidden, adapted, and thrived in secret. That night, as Lyra watched Kai sleep, she felt a spark of hope she had never felt before. Humanity was not gone, and perhaps, just perhaps, they could rise again. The forest around them whispered and hummed under the stars, as if acknowledging the return of something long thought lost. The fire crackled softly, sending shadows dancing across the walls of Lyra's small camp. The forest around them was alive with the hum of alien creatures, their calls echoing through the silver-leaved trees. Lyra sat beside Kai, observing him carefully. He had dozed off for a short while, but now his eyes opened, alert yet tired. Where am I?" he asked, his voice hoarse. Every word seemed to carry the weight of months, maybe years of solitude. "You're on Verelia Prime," Lyra replied gently. "I have a research camp here. You were injured when I found you." Kai nodded slowly, glancing around at the faint glow of the camp. His eyes were sharp, scanning everything as if he were making mental notes. "Camp? You mean humans built this?" he asked, uncertainty in his voice. Lyra shook her head. "No, I built this myself. I'm a xenobiologist." I study alien life forms, not humans. Humans were thought to be extinct. Kai's expression changed. A mixture of disbelief and relief crossed his face. Extinct? He repeated, almost like a whisper. They said we were gone? Entirely? Lyra nodded, her chest tightening. Yes. For centuries, humans have been missing. Nobody believed any had survived. She paused, choosing her words carefully. But now, you're here, alive. For a moment, Kai stared at her. His gaze seemed distant, as if he were processing a reality he thought impossible. I thought I was the last one, he murmured, his voice barely audible. All alone? Forever. Lyra's heart ached for him. She had spent her life among aliens, documenting their behaviors, but she had never felt the loneliness of being truly human. You're not alone anymore, she said softly. At least, not while I'm here. You can rest tonight. Tomorrow we will talk. Kai's eyes softened. He nodded and leaned back against a tree, allowing Lyra to bring him food and water. He ate slowly, every bite deliberate. Lyra noticed the careful way he handled his supplies, the precision in his movements, and the quiet intelligence that seemed to radiate from him. It reminded her why humans had once thrived across the stars. They were not just strong. They were clever, resourceful, and adaptable. After he finished eating, Kai leaned back, closing his eyes briefly. I need to tell you something, he said finally. Humans didn't just disappear. We survived. In hiding, Lyra's eyes widened. Hiding? You mean somewhere on this planet? Kai shook his head. Not just this planet. Across many worlds, we went underground, into remote colonies, places no one could find. Some of us used technology to remain hidden. Others, well, some were always moving, always adapting. He paused, as if weighing whether to share more. We learned. We watched. We waited. Lyra felt a thrill run through her. This was more than she had ever hoped for. Humans had not merely survived. They had survived with a purpose. But the question lingered in her mind. Why now? Why had Kai emerged from hiding? I don't understand, she said carefully. Why reveal yourself now? Kai looked around the camp, then back at Lyra. Because it's no longer safe to stay hidden. The aliens, some of them are changing. They are looking for humans again. We can't remain in hiding forever, but we can't fight them yet. Not openly. His voice was firm, almost commanding, but there was a hint of fear beneath it. Lyra considered his words. She had studied alien civilizations for decades, understanding their strategies, their weaknesses, their strengths, and now she had a living human telling her that humans were still part of the galaxy's balance. Her mind raced with possibilities. Then we need a plan, she said finally. You can't stay here in the forest. They will find you if they search. We need to move you somewhere safer. Kai nodded. Yes, there is a place not far from here where humans once established a hidden colony. It's abandoned now, but the structures remain. We could reach it before anyone notices. Lyra's curiosity was piqued. A hidden colony? Are there more humans there? Kai hesitated. I don't know. It's possible. Some colonies were left for survivors like me. Others, they may have failed. But it's worth checking. At least we can find supplies and technology. That might help us understand what happened and how humans survived. The night deepened, and Lyra built another small fire to keep them warm. She and Kai began to talk quietly, sharing stories. Lyra told him about her life on GalacticPrime, her work with alien species, and the hours she spent mapping the forests and recording the plants and creatures. Kai listened, fascinated, occasionally asking questions about things that seemed strange to him. Then it was Kai's turn. He spoke of human ingenuity, of the secret colonies, and of the measures humans took to remain hidden from alien eyes. He described cloaked habitats, energy shields, and AI systems designed to survive for decades without human maintenance. Lyra listened in awe. Humans had survived not by hiding in fear, but by outsmarting every possible threat. They believed we were extinct because we allowed them to think so. Kai said softly, almost as if confessing a secret. Humans are clever that way. We survive, adapt, and wait for the right moment to reveal ourselves. But it takes patience. Patience and careful planning. Lyra felt a deep respect for him. Here was a human, alone for years, carrying the history of a species long thought lost. And yet he was strong, intelligent, and determined. The firelight illuminated his face, showing the lines of hardship, the sharp eyes, and the calm determination that spoke of centuries of hidden survival. Suddenly, A distant sound broke the calm. A faint hum, mechanical and deliberate, drifted through the forest. Lyra froze. She knew that sound. It was a scanning drone, alien in design, capable of detecting life forms from miles away. She looked at Kai. "They've found traces of me," he whispered. "Or maybe they're just patrolling." Lyra's mind raced. They needed to act quickly. She helped Kai gather his few belongings, and they prepared to move. The forest was dark now, and the shadows seemed alive, hiding unseen watchers. Lyra led the way carefully, her knowledge of the terrain guiding them. Kai followed, limping slightly but moving with surprising speed given his weakened state. They moved quietly, avoiding open paths and keeping to the shadows. Every sound, every rustle made them tense. Hours passed, and finally they reached a ridge overlooking a small valley. In the distance, partially hidden by trees, Lyra could see the faint outline of structures. Metallic, weathered, but unmistakably human in design. Kai's eyes lit up. "That's it," he whispered. "The colony. Not fully functional, but it will serve. We can rest there, gather supplies, and plan our next steps." Lyra nodded, relief washing over her. "We'll get you there safely. Then we can start learning everything about your survival, and maybe even help humanity return." As they descended into the valley, Lyra noticed the careful details of the colony. Solar panels partially covered with vines, water purification systems still intact, and storage units containing supplies. It was clear that humans had designed this place to last. Even abandoned, it felt alive, a silent reminder of human perseverance. Kai moved to the central structure and gently tapped the side of the wall. "The systems are still partially active," he said. "We just need to restore power fully. Then we can access the archives." Lyra looked at him in amazement. "Archives? You mean records of human history, technology? All of it?" He nodded. "Yes, everything humans did to survive. Plans, research, messages, the knowledge of our species." His voice carried both pride and sadness. "We preserved it all in case we ever returned." Lyra felt a chill run down her spine. She had spent her life studying aliens, mapping planets, and exploring abandoned human settlements, but nothing compared to this. She realized she was witnessing a story that had been hidden for centuries, a story of survival, hope, and resilience that humans had carried in secret. As they set up camp within the colony, restoring some of the systems, Lyra watched Kai move with confidence, checking devices, activating dormant machinery, and reading data panels. She understood now why humans had survived. It was not just strength or intelligence. It was persistence, patience, and an unwavering will to endure. For the first time in decades, Lyra felt that spark of hope that had guided her through lonely days in the forest. Humans were not extinct, and now she was part of their story, an outsider witnessing the resurgence of a species that refused to be forgotten. Night fell over the valley. Stars gleamed brightly above the alien forests of Prime. Lyra and Kai sat beside a small fire, discussing their plans quietly. They would restore the colony fully, search for other human survivors, and prepare for the challenges ahead. Somewhere deep in the galaxy, humans were rising again, and tonight on this distant planet their story had begun anew. Morning came slowly over the hidden colony, the pale light of Prime's sun filtering through the silver-leaved trees. Lyra awoke to the quiet hum of partially active machinery and the soft rustle of leaves outside. She stretched and looked around, taking in the scene. The colony, though abandoned for years, was remarkable. Panels of sunlight-absorbing material covered the roofs, still storing energy, and small water collectors gleamed faintly in the morning light. It was a hidden testament to human ingenuity. Kai was already awake, moving with careful precision through the main structure. He adjusted the power regulators, checked the oxygen filters, and examined a panel of flickering lights. Even after years of isolation, he worked as if he had never left human society. Lyra watched him silently, impressed by the sheer intelligence and skill evident in every movement. "Good morning," Lyra said softly, stepping into the room. Kai looked up, offering a small smile. "Morning," he replied. "Sleep well?" "I did," she answered. "And you? You didn't rest much last night." "I slept in shifts," he said. "It's a habit. You learn to stay alert when survival depends on it." He gestured to the colony. "We have much to do today. If we restore the archives, we can begin learning the full story of human survival. The systems are fragile, but the data is intact. Lyra felt a thrill of anticipation. This was more than science or exploration. This was history, preserved in secret by a species thought extinct.
What will we find?
She asked. Kai shrugged slightly, though his eyes held a gleam of pride. Stories of ingenuity, of hidden colonies, of humans surviving against impossible odds. Plans for settlements, technology, even personal diaries. It's all here. Humans documented everything in case they returned one day. They began their work carefully. Lyra observed as Kai connected several power nodes, bringing dormant systems online. Screens flickered to life, showing schematics, maps, and encrypted files. He accessed a terminal, entering a sequence of commands with practiced ease. Lyra could see the layers of intelligence built into every program. Humans had created not just technology, but systems designed to endure centuries of neglect and remain functional when needed. "This is remarkable," she whispered. "Even the AI here is advanced. It's almost human-like in the way it adapts." Kai nodded. "Yes, humans anticipated isolation. We designed technology that could think, adapt, and protect our knowledge. This colony was a safeguard, a repository in case humans were thought extinct." As the day progressed, Lyra and Kai sifted through the archives. They found maps of distant planets showing the locations of other hidden human colonies. Some were abandoned, left as backups. Others were active, their inhabitants surviving in secrecy, always watching the galaxy, always learning. Lyra's excitement grew with every discovery. "These humans were brilliant," she said, eyes wide as she studied a holographic map. They didn't just hide. They prepared. They watched, learned, and planned. Kai smiled faintly. "That's human nature," he said. "We survive, adapt, and innovate. Even when everything seems lost, we find a way." Suddenly, a faint vibration hummed through the structure. Lyra and Kai froze. It was subtle but unmistakable, an incoming signal. Kai's eyes narrowed as he examined the console. "It's a patrol drone," he said quietly. "From the forest. They're still searching." Lyra's heart raced. "How close are they?" Kai's gaze shifted to the external sensors. "Not far. If we don't move carefully, they'll detect us." "But I can use this opportunity." Lyra frowned. "Opportunity?" Kai explained quickly. "We can observe them, learn their patterns. Humans always gather intelligence before making a move. We may not fight yet, but knowledge is power. If we understand how they patrol, we can protect this colony and the hidden humans elsewhere." For the next several hours, they worked in tense silence. Kai instructed Lyra on how to use the colony's sensors to track movement in the forest. Small drones, camouflaged as rocks and branches, were activated to monitor the approaching patrol. Lyra marveled at the complexity of the system. The humans had not only survived, they had anticipated threats, created defenses, and ensured that knowledge could endure. As evening approached, they reviewed the data. A pattern emerged. Alien patrols were systematic but predictable, moving in intervals, covering certain sectors more frequently than others. "We can avoid them," Kai said, confidence in his voice. "And if we need to defend ourselves, we have options." Lyra nodded, feeling a mix of awe and determination. She had spent years exploring alien worlds, but nothing prepared her for the ingenuity of humans in hiding. This was survival at its highest form. Careful planning, strategic thinking, and adaptability. Kai leaned back, looking thoughtful. "There's more to show you," he said. "But it requires trust. Humans survive because we work together. Even in isolation, secrets were shared only when necessary. You must understand this. What I show you now, it changes everything you thought you knew about humanity." Lyra felt a thrill of anticipation. "I'm ready," she said. Kai led her to a sealed chamber deep within the colony. The door slid open with a hiss, revealing rows of storage units filled with data cores, holodisks, and ancient records. "These contain the full history of our survival," he explained. "Everything humans did after being presumed extinct. Plans for colonies, technologies we created, strategies to stay hidden, even messages for future generations." Lyra stepped inside, awestruck. She ran her hand over the storage units, feeling the smooth, cool surfaces. This is incredible," she whispered. "I've never seen anything like it," Kai nodded. "And it's only the beginning. Humans did not vanish because of failure. We vanished because survival required patience. We adapted, we hid, we learned, and now we are beginning to return." As they accessed the first data cores, hollow images flickered to life. Lyra saw maps of distant star systems, showing hidden colonies, resource depots, and strategic locations humans had maintained for decades. There were records of human ingenuity, energy systems that could function for centuries without maintenance, food production systems that were self-sustaining, and communication networks hidden from alien detection. "This is beyond anything I imagined," Lyra said. "These humans, they were preparing for a future that no one believed possible." Kai smiled faintly. "Yes, and now you are part of it. Humans may be hidden, but their spirit endures. You are witnessing our resurgence firsthand." As the night deepened, Lyra and Kai continued exploring the archives. They found messages from humans long gone, letters expressing hope, determination, and resilience. Some were personal, recounting hardships and losses. Others were technical, detailing strategies for survival and recovery. Every record spoke of a species that refused to vanish, that fought against extinction not with violence alone, but with intelligence, ingenuity, and patience. Then, a sudden alert interrupted their work. The colony sensors detected movement outside. Lyra and Kai exchanged tense glances. "Patrols," Kai whispered. "They are close." "Too close." Lyra's heart raced. She had faced alien predators before, but nothing compared to this. These patrols were not just searching, they were scanning, precise and methodical, designed to find any trace of human activity. Kai moved quickly, activating camouflage systems within the colony. The walls shimmered faintly, blending with the surrounding forest. Small drones took to the air, monitoring patrols in real time. Lyra watched in awe as Kai coordinated the defenses with precision. Every movement was calculated, every decision deliberate. This was human survival in action, not just fighting but outsmarting the enemy entirely. Hours passed. The patrols moved through the forest, their sensors sweeping, but the colony remained undetected. Lyra realized something profound. Humans had survived not just because of strength, but because of their intelligence, strategy, and foresight. They had prepared for centuries, ensuring that even a single survivor could carry the legacy forward. When the patrols finally moved on, Kai exhaled deeply. "They won't be back for a while," he said. "But we cannot be careless. Humans survived by being cautious, by thinking ahead. We must do the same." Lyra nodded, feeling a deep respect for him. Humans were not extinct. They had endured, hidden in plain sight, and waited for the right moment to emerge. And now, she was part of that story, witnessing the secrets of survival firsthand. As dawn broke over Prime, painting the forest in soft shades of silver and green, Lyra and Kai prepared for the next stage of their journey. They would restore the colony fully, explore the archives, and perhaps even discover other survivors. For the first time in centuries, the story of humans was not one of extinction. It was one of endurance, resilience, and the quiet power of intelligence and determination. And Lyra, once an observer of alien life, was now a witness to humanity's remarkable secret. The morning sun filtered through the silver leaves of Prime, casting soft light on the hidden human colony. Lyra and Kai moved quietly through the main structure, preparing for the journey ahead. Today was important. Kai had explained that a human relic, a piece of technology critical to the survival and future plans of their species, was located in a remote section of the forest. Recovering it would not be easy, but it was necessary. Lyra packed supplies carefully: food rations, water filters, medical kits, and portable scanners. Kai checked the small devices attached to his belt, tools for communication, navigation, and defense. Despite the danger ahead, he moved with calm precision, as if this mission were routine. Lyra admired his confidence. It was a confidence born of experience, survival, and centuries of careful preparation. "Are you ready?" Kai asked, glancing at her. Lyra nodded. "As ready as I'll ever be. Let's go." They left the colony, moving silently through the dense forest. The trees were thick, their silver leaves forming a canopy above that filtered sunlight into shifting patterns on the ground. Every step had to be careful. Alien patrols could appear without warning. Lyra kept her eyes on the shadows, listening to the soft hum of the forest, while Kai led the way with knowledge that seemed instinctive. Hours passed. They followed a narrow trail, marked faintly by old human signs only Kai could interpret. These signs, scratches on trees, small piles of stones, and subtle energy markers, pointed the way to the relic. Lyra realized that humans had anticipated even the most subtle obstacles, leaving behind guidance that only a human survivor could understand. Finally, they reached a clearing. In the center, partially hidden by vines and moss, was the structure that housed the relic. It was an old research outpost, abandoned but remarkably intact. Panels of reflective metal glimmered faintly, and small drones, long inactive, were scattered around. Kai approached cautiously, scanning the area. "This place was designed to protect the relic," he said. "We must be careful. Automated defenses may still be active." Lyra followed his lead, her heart pounding. She had seen alien traps and natural hazards before, but the humans' engineering was different. Precise, clever, and thorough. Designed not to harm unnecessarily, but to ensure that only someone prepared could access the treasure inside. They entered the building, careful to avoid pressure-sensitive floors and old security panels. Dust covered the surfaces, but the relic remained undisturbed, glowing faintly inside a protective case. Lyra could feel the weight of history in the room. Humans had left this behind not just as technology, but as a testament to their foresight and determination. Kai moved quickly, unlocking the protective case using a sequence of gestures and commands only a human would know. The case opened, revealing the relic, a small device roughly the size of a tablet humming softly with energy. Lyra reached out, awed. "What does it do?" she whispered. Kai smiled faintly. "It's a memory and strategy core. It contains plans for human colonies, survival strategies, and knowledge accumulated over centuries. With it, we can reconnect with other hidden humans and coordinate efforts to ensure our species thrives again." Lyra nodded, understanding the importance. This was not just a piece of technology. It was a lifeline, a key to humanity's future. Carefully, Kai secured the relic in his pack. They had accomplished their mission, but the journey back would be just as dangerous. As they exited the outpost, a sudden noise froze them both. A mechanical whir, sharp and precise, came from the forest's edge. Lyra's heart raced. Alien patrols. They were close, far closer than expected. Kai motioned for silence. "We need to move quickly," he whispered. "Follow my lead. Stay in the shadows. Keep calm." They navigated the forest carefully, moving through thick undergrowth, over roots, and across streams. Every sound, every movement in the trees made them tense. The alien patrol was methodical, scanning for life forms with precision sensors. But Kai's knowledge of human strategies gave them an edge. He led them in circles, using terrain and shadows to remain hidden. Hours passed and fatigue set in. Lyra felt the strain in her legs and back, but she kept moving. Kai was relentless, guiding her with quiet confidence. "Almost there," he said. "The colony is just beyond the next ridge." Finally, they reached a small stream near the hidden colony. Lyra breathed a sigh of relief. They were close, but they weren't safe yet. The patrol could still detect them if they weren't careful. Kai paused, scanning the area. "We need a distraction," he said. "I'll create a small signal away from our path. It should draw their attention long enough for us to slip past." Lyra watched as Kai activated a small device, sending out a faint energy pulse. Moments later, the forest lit up with distant patrol activity. Machines moved toward the signal, scanning the area as planned. "Go," Kai whispered. They ran through the undergrowth, hearts pounding, adrenaline driving their movements. Every branch, every stone, every shadow was an obstacle, but they moved with purpose. At last, the hidden colony came into view. Safe walls and familiar structures rose before them, a sanctuary amid the alien forest. Lyra felt a wave of relief wash over her. They had succeeded. The relic was secured, and they were alive to continue their mission. Inside the colony, Kai carefully stored the relic in a secure chamber. "Now," he said, "we can begin analyzing it. This will tell us more about human survival strategies and help us connect with other hidden humans." Lyra nodded, eager to learn. As Kai activated the core, holographic displays flickered to life, showing maps, colonies, and detailed records. Lyra watched in awe as the extent of human survival unfolded before her eyes. Humans had survived not by hiding in fear, but by planning, learning, and preparing for centuries. "Look at this," Kai said, pointing to a map. "Other colonies exist on distant planets. Some are abandoned, some active. Humans are still out there, waiting, watching, preparing." Lyra felt a thrill of hope. Humanity was not extinct. It had endured, hidden in plain sight, and now slowly it was beginning to rise again. But the day was not yet over. As they explored further, a new challenge appeared. The forest outside the colony stirred with unexpected movement. Alien creatures attracted by the relic's energy approached the perimeter. Lyra and Kai realized they had to defend the colony. Kai moved quickly, using the colony's automated defenses. Turrets, camouflage fields, and drones activated, forming a protective barrier. Lyra watched, impressed by the coordination and efficiency. Every system was designed for survival, for protection, and for strategic advantage. The creatures approached cautiously, scanning the area. Some were curious, others cautious. But Kai's preparations kept the colony safe. Lyra realized that humans had designed not just technology, but a way of thinking that ensured survival in any situation. After the creatures retreated, Kai turned to Lyra. "We did well," he said. "But this is just the beginning. Humans have much to recover, and we must be careful. Every move matters." Lyra nodded, understanding the weight of responsibility. She had always studied aliens and their behavior, but now she was learning from humans, survivors, planners, and strategists. The mission had succeeded, but it was clear that the real work had just begun. As night fell over the hidden colony, the stars of HFY shone brightly above. Lyra and Kai prepared for rest, knowing that tomorrow would bring new challenges, discoveries, and the ongoing task of ensuring humanity's survival. In that quiet moment, Lyra felt a deep sense of purpose. She had discovered more than just a human relic. She had discovered hope, resilience, and the quiet power of a species that refused to vanish. Humans were not extinct. They were preparing to rise, and she was part of their story. The first light of dawn spilled over HFY, painting the forest in soft silver and green. The hidden colony stirred with life. Lyra moved quietly through the main hall, observing the energy systems that hummed steadily now, thanks to the relic they had recovered. Kai was already at a terminal, accessing data from the memory core they had secured during their mission. Every flicker of the screen revealed more of the incredible story of human survival. "This is remarkable," Lyra said softly, walking closer. Humans didn't just survive, they thrived in hiding. They were preparing for a future none of the galaxy expected. Kai nodded, his eyes reflecting the glow of the holo displays. "We planned carefully. Patience was key. We built colonies, developed technology, and left behind systems that could endure centuries. The galaxy believed we were gone, but humans were always watching, always learning, and always ready." Lyra could see the pride in him, but also the weight of centuries of secrecy. Humans had carried a burden alone for so long, adapting and surviving without contact, waiting for the right time to emerge. And now, thanks to Kai and the recovery of the relic, that time had come closer than ever. As they worked through the morning, the memory core revealed coordinates of other hidden human colonies, scattered across distant planets. Some were still functional, though isolated. Others had been abandoned, preserved as backups for future generations. Lyra marveled at the foresight. The humans had ensured that even if some colonies failed, their knowledge and survival strategies would endure. "We need to contact them," Kai said, his voice determined. "If we reconnect with other survivors, humanity can begin rebuilding. Not as a conqueror, but as a species ready to reclaim its place in the galaxy." Lyra watched as Kai initiated a communication protocol. Tiny signals pulsed across the stars, carefully encoded to avoid detection by alien forces. Within minutes, responses began to appear. Small messages, fragmented at first, slowly formed into coherent transmissions. Humans from distant colonies acknowledged the signal. They were alive. They were listening. "This is incredible," Lyra whispered. "You're reconnecting a hidden civilization. Humans are truly returning." Kai smiled faintly. "Yes, and it's only the beginning." They spent the rest of the day restoring more of the colony's systems. Food production units, water purifiers, and energy networks were brought online. Automated drones patrolled the perimeter, scanning for threats and ensuring safety. Lyra assisted where she could, learning quickly under Kai's guidance. She realized that humans had survived not just because of technology, but because of collaboration, intelligence, and resilience. As evening approached, a faint hum in the distance caught their attention. Alien patrols. Lyra's heart raced. Though the colony was hidden, the forest was vast and danger always lingered. Kai moved swiftly. "We can't avoid them forever," he said. But humans have a way to survive even when confronted. Watch and learn. Using the colony's automated defenses, Kai activated camouflage shields and deployed drones in strategic patterns. The patrol approached, scanning methodically, but found nothing. Lyra watched, fascinated, as every move was calculated, precise, and efficient. The aliens had no idea that humans were alive, hidden, and prepared. After the patrol moved on, Kai turned to Lyra. Every step we take now matters. Humans survived by being cautious, by thinking ahead. The same strategy applies today. Patience and intelligence are our greatest weapons. Lyra nodded, feeling a mix of awe and determination. She had studied alien behavior for decades. But now she understood that humans possessed a different kind of strength. An unwavering will to endure, combined with ingenuity and careful planning. Night fell over the colony, and the stars of Viewership sparkled brightly above. Lyra and Kai sat together, reviewing the restored memory core. They saw records of long-forgotten colonies, logs of human survival strategies, and messages of hope from centuries past. Every file was a testament to a species that refused to vanish. Suddenly, a new transmission appeared, a direct message from a hidden colony located on a distant world. The voice was human, clear and strong, filled with the same determination that Lyra had seen in Kai. "You are not alone," the message said. "We have survived. We are ready to reconnect. Humanity will rise again." Lyra's heart swelled. She had witnessed incredible alien life, mysterious planets, and strange civilizations, but nothing compared to this. Humans, thought extinct, were emerging from the shadows, reconnecting across the stars. The spark of hope she had felt for decades was now blazing brightly. Kai smiled, a rare expression of relief and pride. "This is it," he said. "The moment humans begin their return. We will reconnect, rebuild, and thrive once more. But we must do it carefully. The galaxy is vast and dangers remain." Lyra nodded. "And we will do it together. Humans and allies, learning from the past, preparing for the future." Over the next several days, they worked tirelessly. The colony's systems were fully restored. Communications with other hidden humans increased, and plans were made to reconnect the scattered survivors. Lyra assisted in analyzing the data, learning about advanced technologies humans had developed in secret. Cloaking devices, energy-efficient habitats, AI systems designed for survival, and even strategies for coexistence with alien species. Kai explained how humans had survived by balancing caution with exploration. "We never acted recklessly," he said. "We studied our surroundings, adapted, and waited for the right moment. That patience saved us, and now the moment has come." Lyra felt inspired. She had believed humans were extinct, a species lost to history. But here, in this hidden colony, she saw proof of their resilience, intelligence, and determination. Humanity was not only alive, it was ready to reclaim its place among the stars. As the days passed, small groups of humans began emerging from hidden colonies. Some traveled long distances, guided by the signals Kai had sent. Others moved cautiously, testing the waters, ensuring that the galaxy was safe for their return. Each reunion was met with wonder, relief, and hope. Lyra watched as the first contacts were made, realizing that the galaxy was about to witness a resurgence unlike any it had seen before. One evening, as the twin moons of Viewership rose, Lyra and Kai stood on a ridge overlooking the forest. Lights from small human outposts flickered in the distance, each one a sign of survival, determination, and ingenuity. "Look at them," Lyra said softly. "Humans returning?" Kai nodded. "Yes, and this is only the beginning. The galaxy will know that humanity is not extinct. We survived, we adapted, and we are rising again." Lyra smiled, feeling a sense of purpose stronger than ever before. She had been an observer, a scientist, and now she was a witness to a story that had been hidden for centuries. Humans had endured the impossible, and she had seen it firsthand. "Where do we go from here?" she asked. Kai looked thoughtful. "We continue as we always have, carefully, wisely, and together. Humans will reconnect with our colonies, share knowledge, and rebuild. We will thrive not by force but by intelligence, strategy, and collaboration. And eventually, the galaxy will know that humans are alive." Lyra nodded, understanding the weight of those words. This was more than survival. It was a rebirth, a chance to reclaim what had been lost and to build a future stronger than the past. As the stars twinkled above, Lyra realized something profound. Humanity had not vanished. It had endured quietly, patiently, and intelligently, and now, after centuries of waiting in the shadows, humans were ready to rise again. The forest whispered around them, alive with alien sounds and life. But Lyra felt a deep connection to her own species. Humans were clever, resilient, and capable of enduring the greatest challenges. They had survived extinction not by luck, but by planning, patience, and ingenuity. Kai placed a hand on her shoulder. "We've done it," he said softly. "We've survived, and now humanity rises again." Lyra looked out over the hidden colony, over the forest, and over the faint lights in the distance. "Yes," she whispered, "and I will help tell the story so the galaxy knows. Humans are not gone. They are here, and they are ready to shine once more." The night deepened, peaceful yet full of promise. For the first time in centuries, the story of humanity was no longer one of extinction. It was a story of survival, resilience, and rebirth. Humans were alive, hidden no longer, and ready to take their place among the stars once more. And on that quiet, silver-tinged night on Varelia Prime, the galaxy waited, unknowingly, for the rise of a species that refused to vanish.